JRPGs are my favorite genre. There is rarely a case where you will ever see me not playing a JRPG, unless of course it's Resident Evil 2. That game, No, seriously, Resident Evil 2 has got a hold on me like you wouldn't believe. I've beaten the game at least 8 times and I've got a small itch in the back of my brain to play it yet again. Resident Evil 2, get the hell away from— oh, look at that, a 2B outfit for Claire? Well, I guess I'm playing this game for another 2 hours. Gotta love PC modding. Anyway, JRPGs are such a broad genre. You got your traditional turn-based JRPGs, action JRPGs, tactical JRPGs, and roguelike JRPGs, just to name a few. But one of the things that fascinate me about RPGs is that there are so many different ways you can play this genre. Ultimately, there is no wrong way to play. You can grind your party to an extremely high level at the start of the game and just breeze through the rest of the game. You can farm a whole bunch of items and money to always make sure that in the next part of the game, you are overly prepared. You can do every single side quest before moving on to the next section. You can take turns leveling up your party members or ensure that you have one super powerful character. No matter how you do it, you can play the genre almost any way you want. That's one of the beauty and appeals to RPGs to me. So that got me thinking. I've been playing JRPGs for a long time. I might as well share with you how I play this genre, how I go about playing a 40, 60, or even 100-hour JRPG. Now, as I mentioned before, there are many genres, or I guess you could say subgenres within the JRPG. So in this video, I'll be covering traditional turn-based games like Dragon Quest XI and Final Fantasy X, for example, and tactical games like Fire Emblem Awakening and Disgaea. Now, I'm not going to go into in-depth details about how I do things. If I did that, this video will be over an hour long, but I will cover the basics, or rather the general rules I follow. Again, I feel there's no exact correct way to play a JRPG. In my eyes, as long as you beat the game, that's all I really care about. Unless, of course, you cheated. In that case, you can get the fuck out. So when I start almost any JRPG, I'm pretty much going in blind. Some people like to do their research on a game, watch every single trailer, and see what the game and what the battle system is all about. Me, I like to be surprised. I like playing in the moment and figuring things out as I go along. This might result in me catching on to things a little bit later than usual, but nonetheless, I feel like I get there. If a game has some type of create a character or stat distribution system that allows you to customize the main character to your liking, I usually go with the build that is on the physical side. I like the idea of destroying the opposition with overwhelming physical power. Kinda makes me feel like I'm using my own physical attack power. I used to go with a really powerful magic type user, or a magic nuke as I like to call it, but I find it that in most JRPGs I've played at least, the magic user kinda gets easily countered down the line, or bosses with resistance to all the elements starts coming into play. And most of the time, to be really good at the magic nuke role, you have to forego your defenses, so you pretty much end up as a glass cannon. You can pump some stats into HP and defense, but if I'm going to be a walking magical deity of death, I want to one-shot all my foes. So the glass cannon option really isn't for me. Now, I could create a party that protects and buffs the MC's defenses to make it more viable, but I'm not the type of person to rely on others. Sorry to say this, but I'm kind of an independent person, almost to a fault. But I will do what I have to do to get the W. Now, as a person who's been playing the Japanese role-playing game for almost half my life now, I can never play a JRPG on easy or casual. Now, this is a hard and heavy rule. It's either normal or higher. If you want to put a JRPG on easy, then that's you. We all have our different preferences, but me, I like a good and fair challenge. RPGs are great for the story, but at the end of the day, I'm playing a game. So if I'm just gonna steamroll over all the bosses on easy, I'm not really playing the game. I feel at that point the game is playing me. So starting with traditional turn-based RPGs, the first rule of thumb I typically follow is no running from battles. Every battle leading up to the save point in a dungeon or field must be fought. If the enemies are seen on screen instead of a random battle, I will fight every enemy that pops up in my field of view. This, in my eyes, avoids any excess grinding I may need to do. What I think is basic game design for a JRPG strategy is for the developers to put battles in your way every few steps or have enemies in your path that would naturally level you up and put you in a decent striking range to tackle the next boss battle. So if it is random battles, for example, and the dungeon from start to finish is a total of 100 steps, and every 10th step you get pulled into a battle and you win, you are gaining standard XP and levels. Unless of course you're playing on a harder setting that will give you less experience. And granted, enemy parties might be stronger or weaker based on the chance they appear, but you still get experience nonetheless. So avoiding battles on my way from point A to point B is just a no-no. Now of course there are exceptions to every rule, so if I'm trying to get to a save point to heal, I might have to run away so my time doesn't go to waste. And even at that point, with my HP and MP levels extremely low, I still might fight. What can I say? I like to live dangerously. So I mentioned grinding for a little, and that's something I don't actually care to do in a traditional turn-based RPG. Sure, it's fun to gain levels for your party and learn new skills to play with, but grinding too much might remove the challenge for the next boss battle. For me, I love a good, fair fight. I don't want to be walking all over a boss because my stats are just that much higher than his. I want a challenge. I want to figure out if I should spend my remaining MP on a powerful magic skill, or maybe I should use my remaining MP for a high tier AoE heal spell, or if the boss is going to unleash his ultimate cheap attack that's going to damage my party members for a lot and heal him as well. Should I make the attempt to rush the boss with my whole party using my powerful skills in one last desperate endeavor to defeat the boss? Or should I just defend with my party and wait till my next turn? Choices like that make the game fun for me, and I'm not gonna lie, it gives me a little bit of a rush when I make the right choice.
I know, the challenge excites me.
If my level and stats are far above, I don't have to worry about that ultimate attack by the boss causing me damage because I know my party is more than likely going to survive the blast. Some don't like that and want to be in total control for the entire battle, but I like to leave a little room for anarchy in my battles, even if it sometimes frustrates me and I have to repeat an almost hour-long 3-stage boss battle over again. It's totally worth it though when I win. So now, moving on to side quests, I really don't do many side quests in JRPGs, and the reason for this is solely because doing too many might ruin the challenge for me. Typically, side quests give you rewards like better equipment, money, or items. If the side quest gives you some type of extra outfit for the characters, I'm doing that first and foremost. I like to put my main cast in different outfits while I play the game's story. Outfits that actually make sense though. I don't like seeing serious story events happen and the characters are being all serious in their bikinis. Another reason I don't do much side quests is mainly because I just don't have time for them nowadays. Look, when I was a kid playing JRPGs, I had all the time in the world to do all the side quests in town before moving on to the next. Nowadays, with a full-time job and a social life, I can't afford to be tackling every single side quest that come my way. So if I can complete the quest easily, I'll do it, but if it's a choice to do a few quests or move on, I'm more than likely gonna go on to the next story event, unless it's a game I can't quite get enough of. I remember playing Tales of the Abyss and loving it so much I didn't want the game to end, so before the final dungeon I opted to do every single side quest in the game. So if I love the game, I'll make an exception in this department. So again, I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll move on to tactical RPGs. Tactical RPGs and turn-based RPGs in my mind are fighting for supremacy. I can never tell which one I love over the other. My first venture into tactical RPGs came with Disgaea 1 on PS2. Now, I don't recommend starting with Disgaea with popping your cherry on tactical games. Disgaea has a lot going on to say the least, and if you're not mentally prepared, you might just shun all Disgaea games or strategy games in general. And to be honest, this kind of happened to me and I felt overwhelmed as I played the game, but this came at a time when I had absolutely a crap ton of time on my hands, so it was either figure out how to play the game or, well, you know, I wasn't doing anything else at the time, so I just figured it out. Anyway, for tactical RPGs, I like to have two main squads. One squad consisting of main characters related to the story, and another squad with characters I created or characters I love to use. As I mentioned earlier, I like me a good battle, so I won't deliberately make my entire squad too powerful. I like the idea of having a squad in the ready in case the main cast of the game gets killed on the map early by mistake, or if the main map is huge for that battle, I can have two squads ready to storm the field and maybe back each other up if need be. In a game like Fire Emblem Awakening, I'll use my MC, of course, the physical attacker, and of course my favorite characters. and I'll use my favorite characters no matter what, almost to a fault. Let's just say there's a map I'm about to fight on and all the enemies are strong against Tharja, best girl of Fire Emblem by the way. Not only am I going to put Tharja on the map, but I will spend needless turns protecting her from any enemy attack. I'll even weaken an enemy for her and let her have the killing blow just so I can get some experience. And yes, I will do this for all characters I like. In my eyes, if you aren't playing a strategy game with your favorites, then I just don't feel it can be fun, or not as much fun. Alrighty guys, I don't want this video to be too long. If this video was received well enough, I might make a part 2 telling you about other genres within the JRPG that I play. Now this isn't an exact roadmap on how I play these types of JRPGs, but I do think I provided a good enough insight about how I approach a JRPG. I don't think this topic is talked about much amongst JRPG players, which is weird because there are just so many different ways to play. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below. Also tell me about how you go about playing your JRPGs. Really interested to know everybody else's playstyles. Anyway, if you happen to enjoy this video, please hit that like button. And if you want to keep up to date with me with everything I'm doing, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.